Welcome to Rays of Hope, where inspiration meets possibilities. Join us on this journey as we explore videos that illuminate the path to positivity, resilience, and success. Now let's explore how indirect communication affects trust, understanding, and connection in daily life, and why it matters even more in 2026. Verbal indicators. What to listen for. When someone is being indirect or evasive, their words can often give them away. You will notice specific phrases and language patterns that hint at a lack of directness. Listen for vagueness or a reluctance to give a clear answer. Here are some common verbal giveaways. Vague language. Phrases like, "we'll see," "maybe," or "it depends," often delay or avoid a firm commitment. For example, if you ask about a project deadline and hear, "we might get to it next week," it is a softer way of saying it is not a priority now. Answering a question with a question. When you ask, "Did you finish the report?" and get, "Do you think it's ready?" it redirects the conversation without providing an answer. Changing the subject. This is a classic tactic. If you ask about a budget overrun and the person suddenly starts talking about a new marketing strategy, they are likely trying to avoid the initial topic. Generalizations. Statements like, "everyone agrees," or "that's just how things are," avoid specific details or personal opinions. They hide individual perspectives behind broad statements. Excessive qualifiers. Words such as, "I guess," "sort of," "kind of," or "I think," can weaken a statement. They make it sound less like a firm stance and more like an uncertain suggestion. This often signals a lack of confidence or a desire to avoid being held fully accountable. Ultimately, pay close attention to the absence of a clear yes or no. If you do not get a direct answer to a direct question, that is a strong indicator you are dealing with indirect or evasive communication. Nonverbal cues. Body language speaks volumes. Beyond the words themselves, our bodies often tell a different story. Nonverbal signals can either reinforce or contradict what someone is saying, creating a sense of incongruence when communication is indirect or evasive. Your instincts might tell you something feels off, and often, it is due to these physical signs. Watch for these nonverbal indicators. Avoiding eye contact. Someone who struggles to meet your gaze might be uncomfortable with their message or trying to hide something. Shifting eyes or looking away frequently can be a sign of evasiveness. Fidgeting. Restless movements, like tapping fingers, shuffling feet, or playing with objects, often suggest nervousness or discomfort. This can be a physical manifestation of a desire to escape the conversation. Closed-off body language. Crossed arms, turning away slightly, or creating a physical barrier can signal a lack of openness. It is almost as if the person is trying to protect themselves or distance themselves from the topic. Change in tone or pace of speech. A sudden increase or decrease in speech speed, a higher pitch, or a shaky voice can indicate stress or discomfort. If their vocal delivery does not match the calmness of their words, take note. Nervous gestures. Touching the face, rubbing the back of the neck, or constantly adjusting clothing can be unconscious signs of anxiety, especially when being less than direct. When these nonverbal cues clash with the spoken word, it creates a powerful signal that the true message might not be the one being verbally expressed. Always consider both what is said and what is shown. Strategies for more effective communication. Dealing with indirect or evasive communication can be frustrating, whether you are on the receiving end or you recognize these tendencies in yourself. The good news is, you can learn to navigate these situations with more confidence. Open and honest communication builds stronger relationships, fosters trust, and leads to better outcomes in every area of your life. Let's explore some practical ways to encourage clearer dialogue for everyone involved. For the listener, seeking clarity and encouraging openness. When someone communicates indirectly or vaguely, your role as the listener is crucial. You can gently guide the conversation toward clarity without putting the other person on the defensive. The goal here is to create a safe space for them to be more direct, free from judgment. Consider these techniques for responding when communication feels unclear. Ask open-ended questions. These questions cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. They encourage the other person to elaborate. For example, instead of, "Are you happy?" try, "What aspects of this project are you finding most enjoyable or challenging?" Rephrase for clarity. Sometimes you can help by restating what you think you heard. This gives the speaker a chance to confirm or correct your understanding. You might say, "So, if I understand correctly, you are suggesting we postpone the meeting until Friday?" Practice active listening. Give the speaker your full attention. Put away distractions and focus on both their words and their body language. Show you are engaged with nods, eye contact, and verbal affirmations like, "I see," or "Go on." Summarize what was heard. After someone has spoken, briefly recap the main points. This ensures you have grasped their message and shows them you were listening. You could say, "Just to be clear, you are concerned about the timeline and the budget, is that right?" Politely point out the lack of a clear answer. If you still haven't received a direct answer, it is okay to gently ask for one. Try phrases like, "I appreciate your thoughts, but I am still not clear on what you would like to do next," or, "Can you help me understand your specific recommendation?" Remember, your tone is everything. Approach these conversations with genuine curiosity and a desire to understand, not to accuse. This helps foster an environment where directness feels less intimidating. For the speaker, cultivating directness and honesty. If you find yourself using indirect or evasive communication, recognizing this is the first step toward change. It takes practice and self-awareness to shift these habits. Becoming more direct benefits your relationships and ensures your needs and opinions are genuinely understood. Here are some strategies to help you cultivate a more direct and honest communication style. Practice clear articulation. Before speaking, take a moment to organize your thoughts. What is the core message you want to convey? State it simply and directly. Avoid adding unnecessary details that might obscure your main point. Think before speaking. In situations where you might usually skirt an issue, pause. Ask yourself, what would a direct answer sound like here? This brief pause helps you form a clear, concise response. Use I statements. Instead of making generalizations or hinting, own your feelings and opinions. For example, say, "I feel overwhelmed by this workload," rather than, "The workload is too much for anyone." This expresses your perspective without blaming. Set boundaries. Learn to communicate your limits clearly. If you cannot take on a new task or agree to a request, say no directly yet politely. Phrases like, "I cannot commit to that right now," are much clearer than vague excuses. Be comfortable stating needs and opinions. Your thoughts and needs are valid. Practice expressing them without apology or excessive explanation. Whether it is suggesting a different approach in a meeting or stating a personal preference, confidence comes with practice. Reflect on why you might resort to indirect communication. Is it fear of rejection? A desire to avoid conflict? Understanding your motivations can help you address the root cause and become a more effective, direct communicator. We have explored indirect and evasive communication, understanding what sets them apart. We looked at why people use these styles, from avoiding conflict to cultural influences. We also covered how to spot these tendencies, both in what people say and through their body language. Most importantly, we shared practical ways to encourage clearer conversations, whether you are listening or speaking. Recognizing these communication patterns is essential for building stronger relationships and achieving better results in every part of your life. As we move into 2026 and beyond, the ability to communicate directly and openly will only grow in importance. By actively practicing directness and understanding the subtle ways people communicate, we can all foster an environment of trust and clarity. Thank you for joining us on this uplifting journey with Rays of Hope. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe to stay tuned for more videos that spark hope and empowerment. Until next time, keep shining brightly. Thank you for watching.